Okay, now you may recognise this as being from the end of part 1. I was just about to go and upload it, but I forgot I'm running a scan on my PC because it's been a bit annoying. So, we'll do reassembly. Now I'm not going to be talking through it as much, I'm just going to be saying literally what I'm doing and getting on with it. So, I'm going to refit the board. But first, I'll refit the heatsink. Need to refeed the wire through the little corner. Always easier said than done. Flip pad over so it's where it should be. This might actually be a little bit trickier. Now it's back in place. No, there we go, that should do. Alright, then just stay. Sorry if this is boring and you're just looking at the board. I'm actually trying to fiddle the damn cable back in place, which is easier said than done. Especially when you've got man hands. Which will be easier taking that off. The reassembly is not going to be as interesting as the disassembly. Like I said, I'm not really going to be telling you what I'm doing, I'm just going to be doing it because I want to get this rebuilt. I'm not having much joy at the minute. Tell you what, crafting utilities, let's go. Very handy thing. I use them on my model kits. Got them again from the Yorkshire Trading or something like that, or Boise's, one or the other. Just be careful not to put too much pressure on the cable and feed the damn things back in place. If it wants to. Let's be careful, otherwise then I've got to replace the whole damn fan. No, I'm not doing that. Why is it always the bits that seem easy in disassembly are the hardest in reassembly? Almost got it. Almost. So. Oh, this is an exciting start. Oh, and it's ruining the hell out of the cable. Aha, there. Right, never doing that again. Probably won't work now, so yeah, I'm never touching that damn fan cable again. Hold on, my cat wants in the room again. But this one will sit where I put it, Won't go clambering over all the damn cables and wires. Alright, so I say that, and then he comes and sits in the window. Reassembly again is exactly just the opposite to disassembly. There's no snags or nasty surprises that you should be aware of, other than the fan. Watch that damn cable, because that is a bitch. The board with the little finagling should just slide straight in place like that. No hassle. Nice. Put the 2 screws on again. Next, the processor chip. Quite easy. Slot it in till you feel it drop a little, or so you line up on the screws, and then just firm push on the left side, a couple of firm pushes, make sure it's all seated. Drop the heatsink latch, bring the heatsink back over, start screwing it down. You don't have to tighten all, don't tighten all sides straight off. Just make sure you put them in properly at first, so all 4 sides are screwed in. That way you can then make sure they all get, once they're on, then you can just put a good bit of tightness on it, because these actually also hold the processor board in place. I should have mentioned that in the disassembly, but I didn't. I've mentioned it now. Now we'll screw the heatsink back fairly firmly, just to make sure it does maximum transference. Right, next step is the power regulator thing. Again, fairly simple. Just line up the 2 points on there. If she'll do it. No, that's why. Yep. You'll know it when you get it, because it just fits in nicely. And then you just make sure you push firm to the one side. Screw that back on. Next, the plastics. Line them up. Speaker should slot in, and then just clip it down. That's it. Reconnect the front connector. Make sure those are firm. Turn it round. Get the 5 screws. Slot them all in. That way you're not going to lose them. If you want, just start from the middle. Put the middle one on. Proper tightness. And just make sure your plastic does sit on. And then screw in. Now, while I'm here, I'll fit the RAM again, since there's no reason not to. There's no power to it, but for the sake of disassembly, when we did, took them out first. So that can fit back in, and that just slides on and clips on. We'll turn it back round. Check the sides, make sure the bits have clipped in, which they have. Watch out for your crappy cracky plastic bit now that mine is. We'll reinsert the hard drive since we're here. That'll hold that plastic in properly. Firm in, push up, and then screw in. hang that on. Next, I'll reinsert my blanker card, then I don't have to do it later because I'm lazy. The screen. Drop it in place, and drop it in an engine, get it lined, and then it'll just slide right in. Slight bit of click pushing may be required. Push in the connector from either side, then maybe give it a gentle push in the middle. Close your lid. Get your screws. Generally start with the middle. That way at least it's firm. Not going to go too far. Do your two sides. Now my replacement screw for the left side is a big silver one, but there's nothing in the way, so it just screws right in quite happily. It must have worked loose. Slide slightly out. Keyboard replacement. Drop your lid back. They are fairly uneven if you haven't got a battery in them. They're very tilt happy, so I put the lid back fully. Whilst you're here, maybe give your keyboard a quick blow off or a brush off, clean it off, whatever. Now, you're best off having it so there's more room to the left. First things first, insert the laptop connection, which is the more gentle and delicate one. Make sure the zip socket's fully out so that it can slide in. If it wants to go in, that is. Which mine doesn't want to. What a surprise. It's always a fiddly bloody bit. Which is where this will come in handy again, because I can keep the zip connection open quite easily whilst I slide the cable in. There we go. There is sort of a mark on the zip cable of how much should be in. If I remember right. To establish a firm connection. And that is, and we'll push back. Then we'll slide it over, hold it in place, push in the keyboard connection. Now I think on mine this is where the problem is. Mine's gone a bit south on that, which is why when I tighten it up it seems to lose it. Turn it round again, get it in place. I'll drop in my top of the button again, which to replace is part of the whole plastic I think, so that's why I've not done it. Close the lid up, turn it around so it faces you again, and we'll drop a couple of the screws in. Again, like I said in the assembly, disassembly, don't tighten them too tight at first. Well, once you've got it in, because it seems to, or at least for mine, it seems to stop the keyboard working. So I'll put them in for now just so that I know they've got a bit of bite, and then I'll nudge them all up so that they're tight enough so that nothing falls out, and then the laptop is reassembled. So you only need to be literally tight enough so that you feel that it's nipped in place. They don't need to be very tight at all really for the keyboard. And with the last screw done, flip it back round, pop open the lid, and she's reassembled, ready for many hours of use. If it wasn't in such bad condition as mine. Now, one item I do have, which I'll just show for the hell of it, is the base station. Pretty interesting thing. You have a locking mechanism, unlocked but slot in. It slides in on this sort of rail. The D233 that I have, the old CP, that fits on here. You've got indicator light, docked light, power button, dock eject. So you've got Kensington lock here, so when it's in the open position it's got a blank through it. When in locked you can lock it in, and this little catch comes up, and the lock bar is always there, but you see that's just to stop it, and then you've got a pushing tongue. The reason why they have this is because the laptop doesn't have a lot of features on it as such, although it's fairly well equipped. This gives you a bit more. Gives you another headphone jack. Now I believe this one takes over from the one on the laptop itself. Another infrared port, because basically everything that's here, all the connections at the back, you cannot use now because they're sat here. So this then gives you a further USB port. So you now have two USB 1.1. You get a keyboard and mouse PS2 port, whereas you only have the one multi-port on the laptop. You get the serial port again, 10 to 100 Ethernet, parallel port, VGA out, and another power jack. So the only true addition that you really get is one extra USB port and one extra PS2 port and the Ethernet. However, that is extremely handy, and that's why I bought it at the time, because I used to use a USB adapter in it. And the USB adapter's alright, I've still got it, but you know, it doesn't beat having its own dedicated port. Fits in place, firm push, lock it in, and then you can't lift it up. And in theory, no one can nick it if you had that with a Kensington lock. So this video will probably come up not too long after the actual disassembly video, but my main machine is running a check disk still, and that's why I decided to do this ever so quick. So again, comment, rate, enjoy, any questions, I'll try and answer them. Enjoy.